Hey guys, it's Nitin here with the Ultimate Ebook Creator, and in this video I'm going to show you how to create bullets the correct way in this program. So before we start, you are going to need a version which is at least 2.6.6 or higher. So if you have an older version, just shoot me an email and I will send you the latest version. The other thing we need to look at before we start is in configuration and preferences. We want to make sure that inside the HTML tab we have at least these two options set up. Now in the new version you will actually get these two versions, but you won't get this line here, and I'll talk about that in a second. Okay, we will also need this, but I'll show you how to create this. Alright, now that we've got this, I'm going to show you the simple bullets. So from my text pad, I'm just going to go up and I will just highlight maybe a few of these items, and then I'm going to right click and I'll paste and format it. Alright, now because this is a short list, and as you can see each item in the list is very short and doesn't actually wrap round to the second line, it's very simple to create the list, bulleted list. You simply highlight and then you can click this button here, which will create your list. Now a lot of people want to control the space between the bullet and the first character in the line, and the way you do that is you simply highlight, you go to format paragraph, and then here we want to play with this indentation. Okay, also make sure that we are left aligned and line spacing is single, right, just to create this nice list. Hanging ident is 6.4, so to increase it we can put it to like 12, and if you click OK, just watch this area here, you can see that the distance increased, right? And we can go backwards of course, so instead of having a bigger distance, we can just type in 5 and make it a smaller distance. Alright, so that's really nice and simple. One more thing I want to mention here is that when you're creating this manually, when you get to the last list and you press the enter, you will get this bullet showing up as an extra. Now if we don't want this bullet, so simply press the back button and you can press the enter and now it's gone. Okay, so remember that when you get to the end, you press return, you'll get an extra bullet. You click the back button and then enter, and then basically it's gone and you're left with the nice bullet list. Alright, now that we've done that, let's go and have let's render this as a MOBI file, and I'll show you what it looks like. Alright, so I'm going to render this as a MOBI file. Alright, so in order to look at this book now, I have this program called Kindle Previewer. Now this is freely available, and it's a really good program to actually test your ebook. And if you don't know where that is, you simply pull up the browser and you can just type in here, just type in Kindle Previewer like this, and you can see here Kindle Previewer, right? So just click on that, and here is the application. You can click on agree and then download either the Windows version or the Mac version, right, and install it. Alright, once you've done that, you can start the application, and then here you can actually simulate various Kindle devices, so you can test a lot of these different devices, right? I'm going to leave it at the Kindle Fire HDX, that's because that's what I have. And then from the file I'll say open book, and I'll select my MOBI file, and there you have it, nice and simple. Very simple to create, and it looks pretty decent. Alright, let's close this down, and it's important for you to close it down actually, because when we regenerate, if you still have this open, it's going to complain, and it's not going to render from here, right? So make sure you close this down. Alright, number 2 is complex bullets. So this is where you have lines which are wrapping around. So I'm just going to take a couple of these. Okay, I'll right click copy, and I'm going to Control V to paste. Now if you can see here, let me just make this a little bit bigger so you can see. You can see here that these lines are all wrapping. Yep. Now let me just make sure that I don't have a lot of spaces. Alright, so let's turn this into a bullet, a set of bullets. So I highlight, then I go to format, and let me just look at the paragraph. You can see here we have multiple lines, so let me just make them single, and I'll click OK. And then from the bullet icon here, we'll just click that. And as you can see here, the bullet looks really nice. But here's what's going to happen, right? Let me go and render this. I'll show you why this doesn't work out in Kindle. And the problem is, it's not the Ultimate eBook Creator. Even if you used Microsoft Word, you're going to have the same problem. It's because the Kindle software, when it renders, doesn't render these bullets correctly. And if you go on any of the Kindle forums, a lot of people have the same issue, and there's really no way around it unless you know how to do HTML. And actually, I do have a powerful feature in the Ultimate eBook Creator that enables you to actually go dive into the HTML during the render, but that's not the intent of this video. I covered that in detail for anybody who's advanced, but we don't need to do that here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to export to MOBI once again. So I want to show you what it looks like. Alright, I'm going to go and start up my Kindle Preview once again, and in here I'm going to open the file. Okay, so we'll go to page 2. So simple, we've already done page 2. Alright, so complex bullets, they don't work. Now if you look at this, the first line is always indented, and that's what hanging indents do. But Kindle doesn't handle this the proper way for bullets. It actually does not generate the proper HTML tags for bullets. It actually does it using, paragraphs and span tags. There's really no way around this, right? And this is not what people want, and this is where the frustration is. So there is a workaround which works beautifully, and I'm going to show you how to fix this, okay, in the Ultimate eBook Creator. So let's go ahead and close this down, and we'll go to bullets using a table. Now UEC has a really powerful feature where you can insert tables. So we simply click on the table here, and then we'll say insert table, and we're going to insert 2 columns, and the number of rows we can adjust this. We'll leave it at 4, and all the rest we can leave as is, and we'll click OK. So we get 2 columns, and here we're just going to resize the column, because our first column will have the bullets and the second column will have the text. So let's go ahead and just put in some of this information here. So we've got 4, right? So let me start with this. We'll Control C to copy, Control V to paste, go back, highlight, Control C to copy, Control V, and we'll do that 2 more times. Control C to copy, Control V, and if you get extra spaces, you can always remove them, like I did, and then once again Control V to copy. Sorry, Control C to copy, Control V to paste. Now, there is no way. I think a lot of you might actually try this to insert a character in here. You'll go insert, symbol, and then more, and then down here this is actually the bullet character. But if you try to insert this, it doesn't work, because they're non-printable characters. So we don't do that. Let me just close this. The way we're going to do this is we are going to use a search and replace technique that can be used during the rendering of the file. So we're going to create a tag like this. Right? Now you can type in whatever you want, but this is a tag that's not usually available within the document, so something unique, right? So this is what I've created, okay, and then we'll copy this and we'll paste it in this in these columns, or rows I should say, right, or cells I should say. Alright, so what's going to happen is we need to replace this during the generation process with the actual bullet. So we go into configuration, preferences, and we're going to go HTML. And I've already done this, but if you don't see this option, you can create this yourself. Alright, so let me just double click, or you can click edit. And what you need to do is, if you don't see this row, you can add using this. And what you want to do is you want to say search for HTML this, which we already created. Now like I said, it can be any unique thing that you can create, and then replace with exactly this. So it's ampersand hash small x 2022 with a semicolon. So this is exactly what you need to type in. Now since we're generating MOBI file, I've said apply this search and replace on a MOBI file. Okay, now remember, this is during HTML. This is not a typical search and replace that you would normally do during the text. This is actually at rendering time. So this is behind the scene manipulation of the process, right? So once we've done that, we'll click OK, and we see the line here, and we can give it a little title. I just say bullets in in a table. I'll click close, and that's it. Once it's done, we'll save, and then we'll go export once again to MOBI, and it's rendering. Once it's done, it shows this. Now you can open this dialog, but we don't need to. We'll just click close, and then we'll go back into our Kindle Previewer, and I'll show you what it looks like. Alright, so let's go to that page. It's the third page, and there you go. You can see the bullets are perfectly aligned, the text is perfectly aligned, and you can see that the bulleted list looks really good. Now one thing I want to mention here, which I kind of forgot to mention in preferences HTML, I forgot to tell you what this means. So this replacement text, this is actually what they call an escape sequence that renders as a proper bullet. So this is the escape sequence of characters that represent a bullet, and if you put that in the HTML, the browser will render it correctly, and that's what a Kindle device does. A Kindle device is nothing more than an elaborate browser. It kind of works on the same principle, and that's why there's no concept of a page. So now we can scale up like this, and you can see that it kind of scales and it actually maintains this, and it's done because of the table. The table is preserved, and anything within the table will align up. So this is the only real guaranteed way that I found within the Ultimate eBook Creator that you can use to render your bullets properly, especially when the text is wrapping. So it's bigger than your logical page, I should call it, because you know that there's no real page concept in a Kindle device. Alright, so that was it, and I hope you found this useful, and we'll see you in the next video.